Take it easy and solve the school lunch problem with SPAM. S-P-A-M.
こんにちは、タイガークローラジオ。You are listening now. Back J.
You are listening to Tiger Claw Radio. Number 1 in vintage computer and video game entertainment. And now your host, Critical Failure.
Yes, Brad. You know what time it is. There is no time to waste, boys and girls. We got to do this extra fast. So we're going to roll the van casts one after another. Then we're going to do the fail bag and call it a show. Stick with me. It's going to be a good one, I promise. You're listening to Tiger Claw Radio. Oh, yeah. Morning, everybody. It's 6:18. It's the van cast. Monday morning. Today's the 30th of September. This is the final work day for September, and the final bad day in my string of bad days. So all I gotta do is walk into the office and knock out this day, and then busy season will be over and I can kind of go back to business as normal. Big thanks to everybody who's been hanging in with me this past month. It's been beyond crazy. Work's been going crazy, home's been going crazy, and hopefully everything will settle down. As for this morning, I reinstalled Civilization 2 Gold Multiplayer Edition. Okay, so let's go back in time a little bit. This is a game that, Hemrock is screaming at his iPod right now, or whatever it is he listens to this show on. Because let me tell you, Civ 2 has been Hemrock's game for many years. A lot of years ago, he bought me a copy of the Civ 2 Multiplayer Gold Edition in a big box. All right, this is a big, fancy, gilded, shiny box with hologram cover. Very sweet looking, very nice box. So I got this reinstalled. Hemrock and I butt heads on which is the best Civ. A little bit. We both like classic Civ, but he likes the Civ 2 because it's easily moddable, and he's kind of grown up drawing tiles and stuff for it and that sort of thing. And I dug my heels into Civ 3 because it was still a classic Civ, but they fixed the pathfinding, right? If you take one unit and all right, over the next 6 turns, I want you to travel from this town to this town. They can't do it in Civ 2. So I found it very difficult to run like a major. Maybe we play differently, but like when I was playing Civ 2, I was raising enormous armies, and I had a very military strategy, so I felt like the pathfinding was important. But cool game nonetheless, apart from that. So I got it reinstalled, and he has been working on Scenario, which we read about in the comments in the fail bag last week, and I think in the week before. So I sat down to check out his alpha build, and we're crashing at startup, which is, by the way, if you're making any sort of mod or any sort of original thing, crashing at startup is going to happen at some point. At some point, you're going to have a corrupted build, and there's going to be things to go back and fix, or you're going to have to roll back to a previous version. So Hemrock, if you're out there, don't get discouraged, buddy. We'll get it. We'll figure out what's missing, and we'll patch it up. I got to read like the opening bit, where it's like they show you a page so you can read the introduction and kind of get the lay of the land. But that was it. I chose my civilization to get started, and then it was dead ski. All right, boys and girls, one moment. I'm gonna run to the grocery store here. Alright, I think we are a go now. Back in the car, on my way to the office. The last bad day. And then we'll be all set. So Civilization 2. So I got that reinstalled. The scenario didn't launch this morning, that's okay. But it was neat to jump into Civ 2 again. I haven't been into Civ 2 in quite a long time. So, while Hemrock is sorting this out, I'll have to check out some other scenarios or do something like that, and see what else is out there. Because that was a really good game. It really was. So that is something I'm Another thing I'm looking forward to. I do have to figure out how to patch it so that it works without the CD though, because I've noticed, at least on my machine, I'm using that CD drive quite a lot. You know, I put my computer together and adding a CD-ROM drive was like an afterthought. I think the entire drive was $20 to get a DVD-ROM drive, which kind of blows my mind because I remember being back in high school when like CDRs first sort of came out, and like there was only a handful of people who could really make CDRs, or like burn CDs. And I thought that was awesome, man. I remember at that time, mp3.com was like a music directory site that was built to promote like the new file format. So you could head over there and download a bunch of music divided up carefully into subgenre, a lot like Bandcamp now. So I remember getting these like big treasuries of songs, you know, at slow 56K, like half an hour plus per song, to download, and then begging my friends to burn CDRs for me so I could listen to them on my Discman. It's really funny. It's funny to think about it now. Yeah, and then there's that same technology sitting there, $20. Not only is it $20, but it's $20, and the vast majority of builders are like, that's too much. I'm not paying $20 to get one of those in my machine. I don't need it. But I got one because I want to be able to play DVDs. Last night I sat down and watched Red Dwarf a little bit on DVD. So my drive gets used. So now I'm hot swapping Red Dwarf and Civ 2 and whatnot. And I'm going to have to find a way to make Civ 2 work without the CD. I know it's possible. I know there's a patch to do it, but I seem to remember the last time I tried this, when I got that patch going, it didn't work right, and I ended up having to stick with the CD anyway. But, you know, not much to lose at this point. Worst case scenario, it will break the installation. I'll have to reinstall it, but that's fine. You know, it is what it is. It happens sometimes. So Hemrock, good for you for nearing completion on some sort of mod. That's really awesome. Last time I tried something like this was with a game called Strategic War in Europe, which was like a hexagonal-based war game, European war game, World War II kind of thing. And I tried doing several types of like graphical mods, and then I undertook like a big scenario, kind of like you're doing now. But it was like a massive change. Like all graphics changed, sound changed, everything. And I wanted to replace all of the units, like the tanks and the soldiers, with downtown Neketsu sprites, like sprites from River City Ransom, and all of the terrain with like street and instead of forest, it would have been like, I don't know, a different kind of street or dirt or something like that. And the idea would be like River City Ransom Turf War. That's what I wanted to do. But in order to make it work, I would have to redraw the map. You couldn't do it with a map of the world. It wouldn't make sense. You'd have to redraw the map, and that way it would be a little bit easier to redictate what everything on the screen was supposed to represent. And it was the same kind of thing. They drew their statistics and stuff, not from a text file, but they drew it from like Excel files. But it was just too difficult to understand the way they did it. It was like you would have 11 lines of unlabeled Boolean switches and numbers, and that was it. I was able to change them, but I never knew what I was doing when I made the changes. So I even tried writing out to the company, Wasteland Interactive, several times, And at one point, they offered to create like a template for sprite making, but they never actually came through with it. And I was not able to get any sort of working instruction on how scenarios were made. So that's the reason why there's almost no mods available for Strategic War in Europe. It's because it's too weird and confusing on how it all actually comes together, which is a crying shame, because they did make it open resources like Doom 2 or something like that, where you can just change the images and make it work. But it's a confusing game. Even more confusing dependency, resource system to run it. So, yeah, I'd love to see what you got working in Civ 2. And with that, boys and girls, I think I've talked about Civ 2 for 10 minutes. I'm gonna send you guys back to Panzer Studios, and I'm gonna go do my day at the office. No time to waste. Next, Vancast. Morning, it's Wednesday, but it feels much earlier than that. Wednesday morning, 6:20. How's everybody doing today? It feels nice and crispy, frosty outside, but it's just only 70 degrees. I don't know. My dashboard reads 67. All right, time to go to work. So this is being recorded on October 2nd. Yesterday was the end of September, October 1st, and let me tell you, the release in pressure was immediate. It really was. I was able to... I still had work to do. I wasn't able to take it easy. But all of the pressure just... It was pretty nice. I had a chilled out day. I had... I got some time to play some video games, which was amazing. It's funny because I didn't really even know what to play right away. I started with Civilization 2. I had to get it patched because Civilization 2, it doesn't work out of the box with 64-bit systems. It's designed for like Windows 98, 95, that kind of stuff. But I had to get it working on Windows 10. So a real simple patch that I had to apply to make that happen. And now I'm able to run Hemrock's scenario. So I started playing Hemrock's pre-alpha scenario. So I did that yesterday. I played as Fu Manchu. Started working through that a little bit. It's pretty early in the game. I feel like Civilization doesn't really kick off until you start having diplomatic talks, and that hasn't happened yet. That's been good. What else did I play? I tried to actually buy a Steam game this morning, which I haven't done in a very long time. The midweek madness for this week is the Sniper Elite series. And I don't have the original Sniper Elite, which was $1.99. And it looked like the release date was $19.99, it said. Steam release dates are not always accurate, but that's what it showed on the store page. So I tried to give the original Sniper Elite a try. I've had the Sniper Elite Zombie Trilogy game for a long time. That's a pretty fun game. High tension kind of game. So I thought I'd like to see where the series got started. What else happened here? I got to play with Darabka yesterday. We played a couple of things. We played some of the Capcom Beat 'em Up bundle, which was fun. What else do we play, man? I know Swingle and I were going to play some Resident Evil 6, but he ended up passing out beforehand, which is fine. Get your sleep, man. Feel better. We'll play some more this week. Yeah, it was good, man. It was a good time. Video games were fun again. It's great. I played a little bit of a game called 8-Bit Boy. It's one of these like dime store Super Mario Brothers clones. The kind of thing you would have typically seen on the Xbox Live Indie Games section back on the 360. I don't know if the Xbox One has something like that, but it's a Steam game you get for $1.99, and I'm doing a write-up of it so that I can get back into writing articles for Emerald Rangers. So I played that a little bit. I played a couple games of Talisman this past week, which was very fun. And that's it. I feel like I just came out of a hole that I've been in for a month. 2 months, because in August it was already crazy. And with that, I'm off to work right now. And work should be like a normal day, not anything killer. And then when I get off, I should be able to come home and not worry about it, which is amazing. All right, here. We are pulling into the grocery store. I typically do the grocery store on Mondays, but I'm trying to cut back on my sugar intake, like my junk food. So I want to get some fruit, some like fresh fruit for the office. All right, back in a minute. All right, back again. Got a nice bag of Honeycrisp apples, not too bad. I gained a bunch of weight during while we were expecting the baby. So I'm trying to work that off now. I had lost 40 pounds. And then when my wife got pregnant, the ice cream came in the house. And I gained back 15. So I'm doing okay. I'm still in the black. I'm still wearing size 32 pants. It's not too bad. I'm not trying to go back. So yesterday and today have been a real hard fight against snacks. Because this is what I'd been doing all throughout 2018, is I'd just eat fresh fruit for snacks instead of processed stuff. So at least if I'm gonna get sugar, it's gonna be natural sugar coupled with a bunch of fiber. It seemed to work pretty well for me. I was feeling good, doing good. So I know I have half a box of Pop-Tarts at my cube. And when I get back to work today, it's going to be real hard to not eat those Pop-Tarts. They're going to have to go in the garbage first order of business, which is tough. But yeah, man. Another thing that happened was Civilization 2. I got it patched to work. When I got it patched to work on Windows 10, the next thought was immediately, well, let's just apply the no CD patch. I know there's one out there, and I won't need to get the CD out every time. I already can't see the videos, the little clips that play. When you make it work on Windows 10, those just disappear. You get little black squares in their place. So I tried looking for the no CD patch for Civilization 2, and all of the links were from 2004, and they were all dead. So I had a really difficult time with that. So as of yet, I still need to have my CD for Civ 2 in the drive, and that worries me because that CD is really expensive. If anything happens to it, I don't know what I'm going to do. So I think what I might end up doing is burning or ripping the ISO, and then once the ISO is ripped, making a duplicate copy, just so that that's the one that I have in the drive, and so when I'm swapping out between DVDs and that CD, I don't have to risk dropping it and breaking it or something. That might be what I do. I don't know. But it was fun to play it again, man. It was. Civilization. I mean, to some respect, no matter what version you're playing, Civilization is a really good game. And Civ 2 was the version that got me into it. Hemrock bought me this box years and years ago. I'd never played Civilization before. So we got on Skype, and he was like, all right, this is what you click on. Look at the cities. You click on the cities. This is what they do. This is how I learned the game. So it is kind of nice to return to it a little bit. All right. What am I looking forward to playing this weekend? To be honest, this weekend, I'm most looking forward to getting projects cleared off my plate. This right now is the time for finishing things left undone, which means I want to get an article or two written for Emerald Rangers. And that's probably it. That means 8-Bit Boy is probably what I'm looking forward to playing the most, which is weird. I really wanted to try Sniper Elite, so I think that's my game of choice for this weekend as of right now on Wednesday. Somehow I get that Sniper Elite game, which I tried to buy that this morning, but like the transaction got hung up in the middle. I don't know what happened, and then I had to leave for work, so I don't know. Sniper Elite is my choice, I guess. Barring that, if something happens where that just doesn't go through, I could get out the zombie Sniper Elite, like Nazi zombie trilogy. That was a pretty good game. I only put like an hour into that too, so there's a lot of game there left to play still. And I guess that's about it. So with that, I'm gonna shoot you guys back to the studio. I'll see you there. Back in the studio, just want to take a second to thank the sponsors. Big thanks to Hemrock, James, Sendu, Tecmo Balls, Darabka, and Konstantin Kelman. These guys are the Patreon sponsors, the elite few who keep this coming back every week. And even as quickly as I got to put this week's episode together, I always take a minute out to read their names off in a hall of distinguished gentlemen. We got one more Vancast to go, and then we're going to do the fail bag. Stick with us, everybody. What's going on, everybody? It's the Thursday morning Vancast. It is 6:23. 74 degrees out. We've got a nice even day. Feels good. And we are... Oh, somebody's actually... It's the first time this happened. I've had to wait to pull out because somebody else is coming out behind me. Alright, so... Yesterday morning I talked a little bit about Sniper Elite. I tried to push that sale through. Well, that happened. I picked up Sniper Elite, the OG Sniper Elite from 1999. And I played it last night for about 2.5 hours, and I got up this morning and played it for another 45 minutes. Wow, I really dig this game, which is surprising because the first probably 30 minutes I played, I was like, I don't know about this, man. Controls are a little weird. There's a lot of sneaking around, and I can't quite tell what's what. So, which usually just results in me crawling for 30 minutes until somebody comes out of nowhere and kills me. But once I started getting the hang of it, I started to really dig it. One of the things I noticed was that they did not put the easiest mission up front. Traditionally, you think the first stage should be the easiest stage to teach you how to play the game, and then you have a slow ramp up in difficulty, right? I think that might have been what they intended to do, but I found the first stage to be, it's like this open city, World War II era European city, and you gotta there's like a tank that's patrolling around one of the city blocks, and they don't quite tell you how the map works. I found the first stage really hard, but the second stage thinned out a little bit. I started understanding controls. I was surprised to see the mechanic where, like, if you've never played Sniper Elite, you've probably seen it before. Because I've seen it in people's, like, Let's Plays forever. You know? It's the game where if you shoot somebody from a long distance, it'll do bullet time, and it'll show you where the bullet penetrates if you get, like, a headshot or something like that. I thought that came later in the series, but no, that existed, like, in the very first game, which was pretty wild. 1999, that's when Steam has it dated, and let me tell you, it plays like a 1999 game for sure. When you look down the scope of the rifle, the picture of the site is just a static image overlay. So what ends up happening, consequently, is since I play it on a widescreen ratio, because everyone plays on a widescreen ratio now, it's all stretched out and looks weird. The game itself adjusts to widescreen just fine. It's just when you happen to look down the rifle, the reticle looks stretched out. Small detail, something I noticed. Definitely a game from a time when most people were playing on 4:3 aspect ratio monitors. So this is the first game in a while that I can play, or that I have played, and I'm like losing track of time because I'm having so much fun. Give me a second here. And I know I'm not good at it. Because the way I'm doing it, I have my sniper rifle and I have my machine gun, and I figured out that if you loot the bodies, you can essentially just play it like a running gun shooter. Yeah, I don't know. It's cool. It's got a good balance of sneaking around and shooting people. I was a little cautious at first because it reminded me a lot of the early Hitman games. And I didn't like those very much because it's the same kind of deal. You got a big open space, you got to be really secretive and take people out quietly. But in the Hitman games, at least those early ones, there's a clear route that you're supposed to take. And if you deviate from that route, then you're dead, man. So it becomes more of a puzzle game where it's like, let's find the right route based on the map we have. But no, it seems that there's multiple, there seems to be multiple paths to success, which is really cool. So highly recommend Sniper Elite, the OG 1999 version. I've had Sniper Elite V2 in my Steam library for years and years, at least 5 years. And I've never run it, so this is a real introduction to the series for me. As a matter of fact, you cannot buy Sniper Elite V2 anymore. It's been replaced with a remastered edition. So that is interesting. If I were to compare it to the Zombie trilogy, which runs on the same engine and plays very similar, the Nazi zombie games are way more tower defense style. You go from vantage point to vantage point in those games, and you hold out against the onslaught, whereas Sniper Elite appears to be much more exploration / mission based. So that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool, man. And a million miles away from the games that I was looking forward to over the weekend, as of a couple days ago. Right? Well, what was I saying? I can't remember exactly. You guys will have to rewind it. But it was like, I wanted to play chilled out games. I wanted to play Final Fantasy VII. I wanted to play things that didn't require Twitch reaction time. And what could be like the furthest from that? Interestingly enough, the multiplayer is based off of GameSpy. So when you look it up in the Steam library, it says it's not, it does not list it as a multiplayer game. However, I think the original Sniper Elite is supported by GameSpy, or not GameSpy, Game Ranger. So if any of you guys out there who I normally talk to, if you guys pick up Sniper Elite, we can Game Ranger it and do a little death match, which I think would be really fun. Wow, it's just settling in now. I think how much fun that would be, with like Alex Swingle and Darabka and maybe Kaiser just all like sneaking around in a city trying to snipe each other. That would be really fun. Worth spending $10, I think, to spread copies around. I don't know. Tell me, guys. Tell me what you think, guys. I was hoping the Nazi zombie games would go on sale because those are really good. Those are really good, and I'm the only one who has that one in my group. But nay, they are not on sale. These games have really high ticket prices, but then go on sale heavy once in a while to get you to bite, right? So I think the Nazi zombie trilogy is like $45. But then on rare occasion it will be discounted down to like 15. And you buy it at 15, and then there you go. It's like a $15 game. So, yeah, I don't know. I know some of the other games in the franchise are heavily discounted still, at least, I guess probably only till the end of the day. So I guess I won't be jumping on this. But yeah, that's pretty cool, man. I had a really good time this morning and last night. Tonight, though, it'll be all about the turn-based games. Hemrock, Darabka, and I successfully completed a round in our turn-based game of Alpha Centauri that's been going on for over a year now, and so that's up and running. And also, I'm going to do some more beta testing for the Civ 2 scenario that Hemrock's working on. That was pretty fun as well. I got that up and running, and I played that for probably like 20 minutes. Just like a quick hey, how you doing before work to make sure it was all running. So that's cool, man. I got some good times ahead. There was some talk on Twitter about a Vaporwave festival in Pennsylvania as well that I'm interested about. It was all conceptual. No dates have been set, nothing like that. But I think it was Opal, who we played on the show last week. He was asking if there was a Vaporwave festival in Pennsylvania, who would come. And you know what? To be honest, I probably wouldn't be able to make it having a new baby at home. But if things were the way they were a year ago, I would have gone. That would have been a lot of fun. How are we doing now? I think we're 10 minutes in? 10 minutes and 15 seconds. And I think I've reached the limit of what I can talk about in terms of video games. Played Sniper Elite, loved it. And that's about it. Yeah, maybe I'll even play that game to the end. I actually don't do that very much with games that I buy anymore. So we'll see. Be nice to add another one to the finished games category. So with that, boys and girls, I'm going to send you guys back to the studio. Back to the studio where there's hot tea and apples and video games and my favorite chair, where I would very much like to be. And I'm going to go do my Thursday at work on this lovely October morning. I love October. It's my favorite time of year. It really is. It really is. See you guys there. We got to play one track before we move on with the show. We got to do at least one. All right. So last week during the fail bag, we talked a little bit about shoegaze and how I really only knew a couple of bands that played it. This was the big introduction to shoegaze for me. This is a group called Modern Charms, which I found these guys on Bandcamp, and their album isn't free, but I was able to, because I was just starting to collect cassette tapes. I bought their cassette tape and I managed to get it that way. So this is called Ancient Cities from the group Modern Charms, and you can find them on Bandcamp.
Dear
Modern Charms. Heck of a band, heck of an album. Worth the price, if you ask me. Actually, you know what? It's been something I've wanted to do for a while to get that on vinyl, but I don't know. Moving on. we gotta push towards the finish here. Not a lot of time this week. This is my week home with my family. I'll be spending my days with the kids, just being with my children and helping my wife out, which is time I certainly appreciate having, being off work. All right, so we're going to read some comments and whatnot in a fail bag. Best way to reach me is through YouTube comments. You can also, if you know me personally, just send me an email and be clear about what I can and cannot read on the air, maybe in the subject line, something like that. So we said last week that henceforth I was going to read off my subscribers every week. It's 1,578 as of right now on the YouTubans, which is silly that they don't give that fact away anymore. You have to look on the back end to get it, but that's what it is. So let's head over to the comments and see what we got this week. All right, here we go. We got Death Adder, Julia, Mecha Menace, Desm. Pretty awesome. 5 days ago, Desm 101's starting us off today. He says, I recently played through Super Mario World again. So great. Trying to unlock all the levels and routes without a guide is pretty tough. I use the old Winamp skins, the best music. I still use the old Winamp skins, the best music player. There is a version that's compatible with Windows 10. For a cheap but highly flexible DAW on Windows, I recommend Mixcraft. It has a multi-track recording and plugins, synths, etc. for $40 to $80, depending if you want the basic or pro kit. I used to use Reason and Logic, Mac, but I use cracked software, and I'd rather pay for some affordable DAW that has features I'm looking for. Great tunes as usual, man. Good listening. Desm 101, my man, you might have just saved my life here. We're going to take a look, because right now I've been using LMMS, which is completely free, but you can't do any recording. So you can't do any external recording. So all of my hardware instruments and my analog synthesizers, which I've been building, for quite a bit of resources. None of that is usable in LMMS. So what do you got? Mixcraft. We're gonna pop over to Google right now and we're gonna check this out. What did you say it was? $40 to $80? I would pay $80 for a good working DAW. Mixcraft. Because unless I find another one right now, the DAW I'm thinking about is FL Studio, which is $200 easy. I think the Hollow Wanderer over at the next round, I think he paid $260. So there we go. Mixcraft 8. All right, we're gonna bookmark this rather than sit here and look at all the goodies and watch all the stuff. But that looks like it might be exactly what I need. Man, Desm coming through again. Yeah, I agree. I don't want to crack a DAW. It's not something I want to do. You know, everybody's using Ableton Live. That's what everybody likes. And a good solid registered Ableton Live is like $1,000. There's no, like, some of these people on Bandcamp that are just like making these crummy little vaporwave albums that get downloaded by 2 or 3 people. There's no way you paid $1,000 for Ableton Live, dude. I'm sorry. It's just that's not what happened. Somebody must be cracking the crap out of that one. What else? Oh yeah, and Winamp. I used Winamp for quite a long time, actually. I think a year ago, maybe 2 years ago, I switched over to AIMP, which is from the same people. It's just more fleshed out, more modern. But yeah, Winamp is awesome. I sometimes, because the thing about Winamp is it has a really compact interface. Most modern media players, they want the whole screen. They want a lot of stuff for the library. They want, whenever you click on a song, they want to have statistics on the song come up. They want album art. They want all this stuff. No, Winamp had, your start, play, next song, previous song, pause. All that was on the top panel. Under that, they had an equalizer, and under that, it was the track list. And all of that, even if it was like blown up big, took up less than a quarter of the screen. So yeah, Winamp certainly has a lot going for it. Awesome as always. Let's see. Mecha Menace writes, that was Desmond 101, right? I'm not getting the names confused. Mecha Menace writes, in light of your Podomatic hosting problems, I'm surprised Death Adder didn't suggest using archive.org as an alternative. He places his cast on that site. There doesn't seem to be any limitation nor care what licensed clips are thrown in the mix. YouTube still cares, so if he hosted there, they would probably wail about it. And he has a time signature at 46 minutes and 21 seconds. There has never been the ownership of games. That is why those DOA hackers back in the days of the original Xbox got into legal trouble. Buying games has always been buying a license to play the game. The only thing that changed, and it's a big one, is the publisher or distributor's rights to remove the access to that content, essentially revoking your license. Yeah, it's a pretty big change. I would argue it's a pretty big change. But yeah, I agree with you. I know exactly what you're saying. Just because you bought Gauntlet for the NES does not mean you bought the rights to Gauntlet for the NES. You just own a localized copy. It's like VHS tapes back in the day, how they used to say you can't do public exhibitions. And a lot of old CDs in those same alerts would say you can't lend them. It's like, what? Get out of here, you nerds. Yeah, rights are a very tricky and complicated thing. Julia writes, now you're getting it. I was reading a bit into why there were so many slashers and cheesy horror films in the 80s, and apparently it was due to the popularity of video rentals at the time. Hence, numerous straight-to-video releases were made. Yeah, I remember me and my buddy Engie in particular, in a big way, was big into like these straight to VHS horror movies. So he knew a lot of the crazy slasher movies of the 80s. I really only saw a couple of them because that wasn't my thing when I was a kid. But yeah. So she writes, you should get into Fallout 4 when you can. It's a game that requires a big time investment, but it's worth it. I've only played 4, but I think it's amazing. The new Derp one, 76, is actually set in West Virginia. So the fall is very fall, at least. F4 buildings have Halloween decor still up from when the bombs fell, which makes me associate it. You haven't heard of the Cockatoo Twins, My Bloody Valentine, Lush, Slow Dive, or Kevin Shields before? What? You definitely need to listen to My Bloody Valentine at least. They're like the pinnacle of shoegaze. So dang good. You know what? I hadn't even heard the term shoegaze until probably about 6 months ago. A guy I work with, or who actually just left the company recently, was big into shoegaze, amongst other things. He was big into shoegaze and big into like vaporwave and stuff. That was what pushed me over the edge with vaporwave, and I got really into it. It was because of this guy. So he was a big My Bloody Valentine fan. So I know who they are from him. But no, I've never gone down that rabbit hole. Once in a while, he would throw little samples my way. He's like, check this band out. This is really awesome. And it sounds really cool. I just never quite took the dive. I will check them out, and we will see. As far as what else did you say? You talked about, oh yeah, the Fallout games. I could get down with some Fallout. I could get down. I remember wanting to play Fallout 3 really badly. Fallout 3 was huge at the time, but the computer version was one of these games for Windows Live things, so it didn't work very well, and eventually they shut that service off. So yes, I have it on my PC, but it doesn't really work. I even went as far as, if I look over my shelf, I've got Fallout 3 that I got for like $3 from GameStop, but I've never put it in the machine even one time. Fallout 4, when that came out, the guy who sat in the cube across from me bought it like the day it came out, and every day he came to work, he was talking about how he felt like a trash man when he played it because of all the quests he would do. It was weird. Looks like a good game, but people have weird stories about it, you know? I don't know. I like that it's... Wow, it's weird to think, but Fallout is like... Fallout 4 is probably the last major moddable game that's come out, right? Because I like the games where you can download modifications. Right? That's what I like. I want new levels. I want new items. Good stuff. Death Adder writes, I should let you know I finally uninstalled Dead by Daylight off my Xbox hard drive after being frustrated with the latest buggy update. Yeah, it's pretty rough. Food now tastes better, and my testosterone levels have returned to normal levels, and I feel like a new man.
You can actually play Gears 5 on your PC via Windows 10. I don't know any of the details, but Xbox Live about Xbox Live with it. But if you wanted it badly enough, Gears is on your PC now. I agree with your friend about Fallout. They always seem to be released around this time of year, and it's a good game to play when the days are short and cold. And obviously, Fallout 3 and Fallout New Vegas are the best ones. What are some good fall games? I'm not sure, but a 6-pack of pumpkin beer and some Friday the 13th, the game, sound like a pretty cozy time on a crisp fall evening. Horror games are the best for fall and winter, and fighting games are the best for spring and summer. Those are the rules. Yeah, Gears, I don't know what it is about Gears 5. I think it's just because it's getting so late in the franchise, and I feel like I'm losing track of it. I gotta work my way up to Gears 5. I'm not like Sean, where I have to beat all the games in order and I can't play 2 until I've played 1. But I played 1 and that was it for only like a handful of hours years ago. They were 99 cents a piece. I'm not ready. It's starting to feel kind of like Madden. You know, I'm not ready to drop $60 on the new Madden when last year's is $1.50. But you never know. I don't know. I'm not gonna write it off. Let's let the price come down a little bit on that one first, and we'll see how it goes. Especially since Gears of 5 is still like brand new, isn't it? We gotta let the price come down, and we also gotta let them work the bugs out. Death Adder, my man, always good to hear from you. How we doing now? 50 minutes. All right, I gotta step out because I have a wedding to go to. My niece is getting married today. So I'm going to go do that, and when I get back, we'll close the show. Okay, are we ready to close this thing up yet? Alright, I did make it back from the wedding, everybody, and you know what that sound means. Thank you for letting me pull the plug on this one a little short. As you can imagine, things have been beyond crazy in my house this week, this coming week. I'm just going to be at home, taking care of the kids, and I cannot find a second to do anything. So it's a miracle I managed to get this released. I'm wrapping this up now Sunday evening. So thank goodness I'm getting by the skin of my teeth. And you know what? I'm loving every minute of it. It's great. Things are difficult sometimes. Difficult happens. You can't let difficult equate to bad. Right? That's where I'm at right now. So whatever it is you're doing after listening to this, I hope it goes well for you. Because I'm rooting for you. And I'll see you next week.